Judge, let's first of all start off talking about your outburst in court earlier this year. Why did that happen?
Well, I'm passionate about collecting restitution and child support. That's my job. Children and crime victims depend upon me to make sure that their money that it is owed to them is paid. Um, I know if you've had any dealings with collecting child support or collecting restitution, um, cases get very long in the tooth because people just won't pay. And, I have them up on a show cause docket where they come in, I'm checking to see if they're paying. And, a lot of times they aren't paying, but they make promises that they're going to pay. And so you give them a chance and you give them a chance, and time after time, month after month, year after year, um, the debt just keeps building, and kids are in poverty, and crime victims aren't receiving what's owed to them. And in that situation, enough is enough.
So, so, so what you're saying is when you address them, you were addressing them as, sometimes as a parent would address a kid as the authority figure. I mean,
Right.
sometimes you have to do it. You're, of course, the authority figure.
I'm the authority figure, and the buck stops with me. I mean, you can only buck so many times till say, hey, you're not making an effort. You're making money, and that money's going somewhere, but it's not going to your child that you brought into this world, and you need to pay. And sometimes people need a little motivation.
But I got to admit, Judge, when I watch that clip, I'm sitting here thinking that if I have to cover a court case in your court, I'm scared that, hey, I might do the wrong thing. You're going to send me to jail for 3 days.
No, I mean, hey, I've been a judge for almost 26 years, and that was a little blurb. That was just a few minutes out of a 26-year career. And my opponent's trying to say, that's it, that's me. And that's just a little teeny microcosm of my judicial career.
So why is it not you?
Why is it not me?
Yes, sir.
Because that is just a little teeny blip of a 26-year career. I've conducted numerous trials, civil trials, criminal trials, and I have that much experience. And he's just trying to make that one incident. Hey, everybody has a bad day, right? Do you have bad days?
Sure.
Everybody has a bad day. Nobody's perfect. There's only been one perfect person walk this earth, and that's not me. I can tell you that. So, nobody's perfect. They've taken a bad day, a little microcosm of my career, and saying, this is Judge Conley. Look at him. That's not true.
So if elected to the Supreme Court, we won't see outbursts like that.
No, you won't. And I won't be seeing people like that either. As a Supreme Court justice, I won't be seeing deadbeat dads who hadn't paid anything in 3 years.
You were reprimanded by the Judicial Conduct Commission. I said, and you recused yourself from both of these cases.
Yeah, because they're still ongoing. I mean, the one fellow still owes restitution, and as far as I know, he's still not paying it for destroying tractors that he stole. So he owes thousands of dollars in that. So it would still keep coming in front of me. But since that was involved in that incident, I said, I'll give it to somebody else and let them get upset with him, because I don't need to deal with that fellow anymore. Now the other guy, it's my understanding that right before all that occurred, before the news release on the JCC thing, he came in and paid his 2 cases. He has 2 cases, paid them in full. in cash.
Who's this?
The deadbeat dad guy.
Is that Mr. Willis or Mr.
I don't know which one's which. I couldn't tell.
Okay. So it says here that you sent the defendant 3 days to jail without.
Are we talk? Is this all we're going to talk about? I mean,
Oh no. We're going to get in the campaign. We're going to get in the campaign. Trust me. That you sent him 3 days to jail without writing anything about that. Was that an oversight or what?
Well, there's a thing called direct contempt. I believed he was in direct contempt in my courtroom. When somebody's in direct contempt in my courtroom, I can send them to jail without a hearing because it's direct contempt for the court. I have a duty to protect the integrity of the court. So if someone's in direct contempt, I can send them to jail immediately. I believed he was because I was trying to talk to him. And as I was trying to talk to him, he was talking over me. That's not, number one, it's not very polite, right? It's not very, when a judge is talking, you should be listening instead of trying to tell me, no, judge, I'm not listening to you. You're going to listen to me. So I view that as direct contempt. The JCC did not agree with me. It was easier for me just to go along with the JCC than fight them over it. I'm not saying that I was wrong. I'm not saying that they were right, but they offered a compromise, and I took it because I had other fish to fry. I was in the middle of a campaign, and all this came up right after I filed for this office.
So it's the issues. The issue's been dealt with in your eyes. You're moving on.
Yeah, it's been dealt with. We agreed to a settlement. It is what it is. And my opponent jumped on that and tried to make that who I am and what my 26-year judicial career is all about. And it's not all about that. It's nothing, like that. It's a red herring that he's throwing out there to say, look at this, instead of look at this. Judge has 26 years of judicial experience. I have 0.
Speaking of your opponent, he has said on his website he would apply the law instead of making the law. I guess, would you agree with that, or would that be your approach?
I think that's in response to what I've been saying about him. My opponent is a career politician. The legislature makes the law, right? The judges interpret the law and protect the Constitution. That's my duty as a judge. And that's definitely the duty of a Supreme Court justice. So as a legislator, he makes law. He's used to making laws instead of following the laws. I think he's saying that to counter what his career has been.
But when you sit on the bench, I mean, will you interpret the law, or will that be your approach?
I will follow the law. I will interpret the law as it applies to the facts, and that's what a judge does.
Speaking of judge, if you're elected to the court, will you be an activist judge, a conservative judge, or a liberal judge?
I don't know that I'm allowed to use those labels. My campaign is subject to judicial ethics, and I'm not allowed to say certain things, but I can say that I tend to be more conservative than I do liberal, simply because it's a safer approach. It safeguards our Constitution. I don't want to be changing, our Constitution. The duty of the Supreme Court is to protect our Constitution. Our Constitution safeguards our civil liberties and our civil rights. Any laws that come from the legislature or decisions up from the trial courts that jeopardize or put our civil liberties or civil rights at risk must be struck down.
Now, I think it was last month that I covered this before the Supreme Court when Governor Beshear's legal challenges went before the court, and the executive orders. I guess what's your take on all of that, on all those orders there coming before the court?
I'm not allowed to definitely comment on anything that's currently before the Supreme Court. Any comment on how they did or how they ruled. That's a big violation of the judicial ethics. I can't do that.
But because this case may still be going on, I guess, when if you get elected.
Correct. I mean, we're just 4 weeks out from an election.
Why do you want to be on the Supreme Court? I mean, what do you bring to the court?
Well, as I said, I want to protect our Constitution. That's a very important role of the Supreme Court. You have to protect our Constitution because our Constitution is the safeguard to our civil liberties. My opponent, as a career politician, has a voting record. His voting record indicates that he is not willing to protect our constitutional rights, especially the Second Amendment rights.
So what would a Supreme Court Justice Bob Conley be like?
He will do all he can to protect Kentuckians' constitutional rights.
That simple?
Well, I mean, that's my job. That's my job as a Supreme Court justice, is to make sure that there aren't any infringes on constitutional rights. Also, to make sure that each branch of government stays in its lane. Each branch of government has certain duties and certain powers. Sometimes one branch might kind of get a little heavy-handed and move over into another branch's lane, so to speak. Like that old commercial, stay in your lane, bro,
Let me rephrase the question. I feel like an attorney in court now with that statement here. Typically, because I know in my own career, you start off and then you kind of climb the ladder of your industry, and we all have reasons for do that. I guess
Right.
You're right here, and you want to climb the ladder in your profession. Why do you want to do that?
Well, right now I am the circuit judge, which is the highest trial judge in the state. And I've been that for 14 years. I'm ready to move on to something different. Instead of actually conducting trials, I conduct trials, every week, sometimes, well, not every week, but I've got trials set every week. Sometimes they go, sometimes they don't. And after 14 years, you're ready to do something a little different. My term is another two years. It'll end. I'm getting to the end of that. I'm ready to do something different. I don't want to retire because I still feel I have something to give to my fellow Kentuckians. But I don't want to continue doing the bench thing because doing it as a trial judge, every day, you're doing something. You're conducting motion hours, you're having hearings, you're conducting trials. And it just, after 14 years, it just wears you down. Conducting show cause hearings with, deadbeat people, just doing that for 14 years, I'm ready to do something different. If the Kentucky people want me to do something different, and I have something to give to them, and I hope they allow me to do that.
Do you have anything else you want to say about your candidacy, the campaign?
Yes. It boils down to, what do Kentuckians want, Eastern Kentuckians want in that seat? Do they want a seasoned judge like me, who's conducted many trials, knows what a judge is going through, knows what the defendant is going through, the plaintiffs and the defendant's counsel are going through? Or do you want a career politician who has no judicial experience, who's, I think, just wanting to use this as a title in order to go somewhere else later? I'm not going anywhere later. This is going to be the crown of my career, my judicial career. I'm not looking to put a feather in my cap to go do something else. I want to help Eastern Kentuckians. I believe I have the Eastern Kentuckians' values that the majority of Eastern Kentuckians have. I don't think my opponent has that. I don't think he can beat me being Chris Harris. He has to be something else. He's out there, and I've looked at stuff on his website where he's telling people that he's pro-gun. His career in the legislature, his voting record, proves just the opposite. The NRA has endorsed only me, I assume for a reason. He's telling people on his website that he's pro-life. His voting record proves that he's not. And the Kentucky Right to Life people don't believe that. I have the Right to Life endorsement. He voted against Kentucky Blue Lives Matter bill, but yet he wants to say that he's pro-law and order. His voting record proves the opposite. He's just, I don't know, I think he's misleading the Eastern Kentucky people, because that's what it will take to get elected. They want someone with my values, not his. But he's trying to be me to get elected.
All right. Well, Judge, thank you very much.
All right.